Welcome back to another episode of Full Retard. Today we have more entitled parent stories for you. First up, girl called me racist for not letting her self-promote on my page by Saint Honey. I'm an artist that makes money off commissions. I lost my job at the start of the pandemic and have been relying on these commissions in Depop as my main source of income since. I mainly post my art on Tumblr. My following is pretty decent and I get some exposure on my posts through the use of hashtags and whatnot. About a week ago, my account was suspended. I'm all for racial equality in the BLM movement. I'm aware of the racial injustices going on in this country, and I believe there needs to be change. About a week ago, I started having problems with this user. She would comment under my post promoting her own art and page, and after a while it got pretty annoying. But I let it slide. But then she started dropping her PayPal and Venmo in my comments. So I messaged her about this, kindly by the way, and told her I wasn't too fond of her promoting her stuff under my work as this was my main source of income. She began to call me a racist and a bigot. I was honestly confused because I didn't think anything wrong with me asking to stop shamelessly promoting on my artwork. She got very angry and said that I was taken away from a black creator herself, and that the whiteys need to let the black community flourish. Again, I was confused, as my bio clearly stated I was Mexican, LOL. I told her that I understand the frustrations of everything going on, but this is my page and I'm allowed to do what I want with it. So I deleted her comments and whatnot. A few hours later, my account was suspended for hate speech. I'm trying to get my account back up, by the way. I also don't know if this is the right sub for it. Another thing, I'm aware this does not account for every black creator. This doesn't define the group as a whole. Next, Adidas Isn't Good Enough by Broken Cast Butt 67. So around a year ago, my sister left an abusive relationship and had nothing, not even clothing. It was the middle of the night, and she had her son, had only the clothes they were wearing. So my mom and I took them both to Asda, aka Walmart, to buy some clothes. Since, they had absolutely nothing except what they were wearing. Her son, who's only a toddler, was more than happy with the Asda clothing. A few dinosaur tees, some jeans and shorts, pajamas, and whatnot. My sister wasn't exactly happy. It isn't branded, but she reluctantly agreed. She just got about everything except a sweatshirt or hoodie. A few years back, I had bought myself an Adidas hoodie with some birthday money that cost $50. I didn't really wear it much anymore, but when I first got it, my sister was insistent that I had to give it to her, going as far as asking my mom to get me to give it. Of course, I said no because, I just purchased it at the time. Anyway, we returned back to my house and with my sister. I lived with the fam at the time. All the while, she complained that she hadn't bought a hoodie and she'd get cold. She was offered a plain jacket from Asda, but she didn't want it. Though reluctant, I gave the hoodie to her because, and I repeat it, she had nothing, and I felt sorry for her at the time. She took it home, and I've never seen her wear it since then, even though she begged for it for several years. It's kind of irritating, but it's not that bad. Oh, but it gets worse. I bought myself a Nike jacket when I went to Spain with my parents around the same time that my sister came out of the relationship. We went on a vacation that had been booked for months in advance. She also complained that she couldn't go with us there. Back to the Nike jacket. I refused to give her that because I do wear that Nike jacket quite regularly. Anyway, she asked my mom to ask me for it again. Of course, my mom comes to me and says, "Can you give your sister that Nike jacket? You don't wear it anyway, and she doesn't like the Adidas jumper." Too long didn't read. I gave my sister an expensive Adidas sweatshirt when she had nothing, but it wasn't good enough because it wasn't Nike. Next, Need Yes, Greed No by the Pathetic Pro. So this happened last year in October or November. Can't remember the exact date. I was trying to sell my Ryzen 5 1600 CPU, a decent desktop CPU, because a newer model of this same exact CPU was announced and released in July 2019, which I was planning to buy. My CPU was fairly used, but was still in a good condition and was able to perform just as good as a new one. I listed it on eBay for $70. A new one costed around $150 at that time. I clearly wrote in the description that I did not include the Wraith Stealth cooler, which came along with it, since I used a different CPU cooler and had no idea if I even had it. Since I was not familiar with the whole selling process, I included my phone number and email for potential buyers to contact me. Big mistake. After a day or two, I received a message from this person, age 16 or 17 probably. Can I play games on it? You can play most of the CPU-intensive games on it on 60 FPS. Keep in mind you need to have a good CPU, GPU, and memory as well. I already have GPU and memory. That's great. Do you want to order it now? Can you hold it for me till tomorrow? Sure, bud. I can hold it for you till tomorrow. Okay. Next day. Is this still available? Yep. I'm ordering it now then. Thumbs up emoji. A week later. I think you forgot to send me the cooler. I did not include a CPU cooler. I wrote this in the title and the description of the ad. Choosing Beggars sends me a link to a CPU cooler. I want this one. Me confused. Okay. When will you order? That was not part of the deal. How else am I going to run this? I don't know. Buy a cooler yourself? We argued for a bit, and I ended up sending her the free stock cooler that I had to find for her. I don't want this cheap cooler. I can't even overlook with this one. Could you send me the one I sent you the link of? Me, now getting annoyed. No, you can buy this for yourself. I have already sent you the stock cooler, which was clearly not mentioned in the advertisement. How can you expect me to pay from my pocket for your cooler? Choosing Beggar sees the message and doesn't reply. Maybe 3 or 4 days later. Why would you do that? You ruined everything. You are a moron. So apparently what happened was that she decided not to buy a CPU cooler at all. She had a really slow graphics card, GT 1030, and only 4 gigs of RAM. To nobody's surprise, she wasn't getting the frames she wanted and decided to overclock an AMD CPU to get some extra frames without a cooler. Well, now she has a CPU and a motherboard that don't work. Only if she would have used the free cooler I sent her, she wouldn't have been in this situation. Sweet karma. Next up, Beggar Sister by Lord of Monstugs. I just need to vent about my sister. She's so tight. I'm really sick of it because she has a job and earns $28,000 a year plus a bonus. She got that job straight out of university. I finished this year, and in times of COVID, jobs aren't easy to find or get. I'm struggling but still have some student loan left till I get my tax repayments back. My sister is doing well, and yet she begs and tries to get everything for free. She never pays any housekeeping, but I've always paid when I have worked in the past. She got an advisory on her brake pads and an MOT decided she didn't want to pay for them to get fixed, and 5 days later they fell. She could have killed someone, but still won't change. She never pays for parking permits, which results in her getting tickets, but for some reason that's cheaper than just getting permits, and always threatens family that she won't see us if she has to pay keep. She has a flat share near her work, but spends over half the year with us, eating my parents' food, using their stuff, and adding to the bills. She was just begging this evening for if anyone had an Amazon Prime login she could use, and when we all said no, she was like, "Oh, my friends give me their logins." I'm just tired of how much of a cheapskate she is. She also begrudges the fact that I offer to essentially do all the housework and all the errands for money and goes, "Well, I never got money for doing anything." I never did either, but then she never paid rent, and at most I only make $7 a week. I'm fed up with her attitude, and it annoys me that I have always paid in the past, and yes, she never paid a penny. I know it's not the juiciest Choosing Beggar story, but she has no reason to be this tight, and I guess I'm just sour because I never get the handout she gets. I would kill to have a job that paid me $28,000 a year, but I'm just panicking watching my bank account drip, dry. Edit. Just because I think it might be confusing people, I'll add some background. I'm 25. At 16, Dad, my parents, Mom and stepdad, said I could learn molding and work with him in the film industry. I was sold a dream and didn't take my education much further. Fobbed off my A-levels like an idiot. Learned all the skills from Dad, but he couldn't separate personal and professional life. If he was unhappy with me, he'd slag me off to another professional. Lie to me about jobs. Basically, if he didn't want me there, I wouldn't have any work for months. I eventually decided to take my portfolio and go to uni. Finished this year and can't get any work, not even service jobs. Sister finished her education, walked straight into a full-time job. I know a lot where I am is my own fault for being a dumb, but I just didn't expect things to go this way. Last, he didn't want 1 whole box of pizza. He wanted 2. By Kickin' Nugget. Ever since I moved to my new area, I've been trying my best to be nice to everyone since I know this whole situation sucks and we never know what people are going through. I've always made it a point to offer food when people ask for money. This way I know it'll go to food, and usually They always take any type of help. Well, I guess I was wrong. I wanted to get a K-bowl nearby and was approached by a man almost 2 feet taller than me. He surprised me, but handed me a card. It said he was deaf and needed as much help as I can give. I signed to him that I didn't have any cash. Barely passed my ASL class, to be quite honest, but I did offer to get him a pizza, since the pizza shop is right next to the shop I'm trying to go to. We both walk up to the pizza, though his face shows disappointment. Nope, he didn't even open the door for me. No matter. Maybe he's trying to be cautious because of COVID. Nope, he didn't even acknowledge me as he looked at the menu and then spoke to the cashier. Bright as day. No signing, nothing. We all wore masks, so there was no way he couldn't have heard him. At this point, I was beet red. I paid for the pizza and stormed out, got my food, and started to drive off the parking lot, only to find him walking around the parking lot yet again. I rolled my window down and tried to ask him if he got his pizza. He handed me the card again. This man forgot I paid for him just 10 seconds ago. I was shocked. And to this, he asked me, "You only got me one. Can you get me two?" I flipped him off and drove out of there. This was it for me. No more good deeds. I'm tired of this society. Too long, didn't read. Exactly what the title says, I guess. Thanks for listening. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. Subscribe to our podcast and like us on Facebook.